Switching to portrait 160.
Hello there, I'm Taylor Jackson. I have photographed over 1,000 weddings in my career, and I was doing 60 to 70 weddings per year as a solo photographer studio for a very long time. If you're interested in getting into wedding photography or maybe making a film element of your wedding photography business, this is the video for you. I'm going to walk through my process, talk about things that I have learned shooting film at weddings as well as shooting film all around the world. And I'm also going to give you the one thing that I changed this year that revolutionized the way that I'm actually able to capture film photography on wedding days. Before this, I could do it, but it wasn't the best time. So this upgrade has changed everything for me. And if you are interested in these behind the scenes style wedding days, I have 75 of them up on YouTube, so you can watch them. I'll put a link at the end. The video will pop up on the screen of the playlist, and you can watch them all. The film development and scanning was done by Panda Plush in Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. Yes, clapping for him. On to the video. Hello there, I am Taylor Jackson. Today we are doing a day of film photography at a wedding. I am only shooting film today. My wife Lindsay is the lead photographer. Tim, behind the camera here, is the official second photographer.
Hello.
I am bonus third photographer, film only today. This is a package we're considering offering, just as a little bonus add-on. Tim's getting really close. I'm feeling uncomfortable. That's not a digital zoom, that's a real life zoom. And in front of me, you can see what I'm going to be using today. I have two Nikon F6s. So this has the 58-1.4 on it, which is one of my favorite Nikon lenses ever. And it's amazing that I get to use my f-mount glass again. And another Nikon F6 down here with the 35mm f2. For film, I figured I would keep it all C41 today. What that means is it's just all color negative film. So my main film here is Portra 400, 5 rolls of it. I've never done this as a full day, so I don't actually know how much film I'm going to shoot, so I just brought everything I have. I have some Cinestill 800T for the reception in case things get a little bit darker, and I kind of want that Orby flare around light sources. Portra 800, probably a safer option. I'm going to say Portra 800 and 160 are becoming my favorite film stocks. Portra 400 is the newer formula, so it's just, in general, I would say a safer stock to use, especially on a wedding day when things are happening fast and lighting conditions are changing. But I like the look of 800 and I like the look of 160 a lot. So let's go do it. Let's go take some pictures. And also, if you're interested, there are new monthly slots available on the members website. It's usually annual only, and if you sign up, you get access to all of my presets, as well as all of my courses and downloads, flash photography guide for wedding photographers, introvert's guide to posing, and my yearly flagship, Book More Weddings, updated for this year. So get in on that, $40, deal of a lifetime. Tim's nodding with his head, but we're on a gimbal, so that you can't nod with the gimbal, it just kind of goes up and down.
That's looking good.
So, the biggest upgrade I made to my film photography experience on wedding days, I used to shoot manual focus cameras. Now I'm shooting this autofocus Nikon F6 with lenses that also autofocus. When it comes to actually doing work both as a digital photographer and a film photographer at the same time, using an autofocus camera, I very much underrated how helpful it was going to be. And while the Nikon F6 is probably the best SLR ever made, there are lots of other autofocus options at smaller price points.
I don't see Tim. Where is he?
Good morning, exchange of the cards. Very exciting moment here.
I'll say I have one of yours.
Most of this day when we're outside or inside like this, it's going to be on Portra 400. Portra 400 is great because it's very versatile in terms of the latitude it gives you. So if you screw stuff up, you can usually fix it pretty easily. And another cool thing I realized after this wedding is that you can actually imprint EXIF data. So you can see my shutter speed and aperture and everything in the side of the frame. So if you want my settings and also more film wedding days, let me know in the comments.
Here we have Lindsay turning off the lights, so the light is just an even color. Quick demonstration between no flash and flash. Remove this. And then adding the Nikon SB23 speedlight. Pretty great product. Wish they'd make something like it similar for digital.
Really smacked the scene with flash there. Maybe that was too much. Maybe it wasn't enough. Maybe you want to go more flash. I don't know what's right for you. A lot of these photos, I did add a little bit of bonus flash to them when it might not have been necessary, mostly because I wanted to see what flash looked like. I haven't really used it a whole lot in film photography.
Is it back there? Yeah. I'm not a sir, come on.
Looking good.
I'll do a few more flash versus no flash comparisons. Maybe not one-to-one comparisons, but at least something in the same scene. So you're able to decide whether it is for you or not. So that one's no flash. And that is flash, as you can obviously see on the right there.
Here is Lindsay putting together a flat light.
That's a dog, by the way. You ever seen a dog before? I've never seen a dog before. Tim hasn't either. This is the first dog Tim's ever seen. That was first interaction. What adding a little bit of flash does is it brings out the natural saturations in outfits, or I guess in anything you're taking pictures of. Whereas if you are not using flash and the shadows get too dark, you lose some color, or some colors will change a little bit. All the same principles of photography still apply though. One, you get barked at by dog. Two, you get good, nice light. That's nice light coming in through that window there. We're really trying hard. We basically have 2 pockets of good natural light in here, and also 2 dogs. There they are again, barking at the camera. One of the things I like the most about film photography is the surprises that you get every now and then, where you think you know what you're going to get and you get something completely different and you like it a lot better. And then you have to remember what you did and do that again next week, and that's the hard part. The easy part is the fact that your lab now does all of your color correction and scanning and everything for you. So they just basically send you final images for the most part. You can make some adjustments, but a lot of the time if you have a good lab, like Panda Plush in Kitchener, Ontario, Canada, your scans are going to be pretty much final. Maybe you might crop a little bit. Do you want to look towards me for one here? Thank you for the eye contact. When it comes to the scanning, and I guess the development as well, you have a little bit of input, and you can actually, if you work with the person processing the images and scanning the images, you can give them your preferences and they can scan and edit a little bit closer to how you want it to be. So if you can collect some examples and at least a few rough ideas, some things might not be possible and are all based around the fact that they were in a beautiful sunset and surrounded by olive trees and beautiful greens, and you're not going to be able to emulate that downtown Toronto. But you do have input and you can customize things to look a little bit more how you want them to.
Sort of a girl, maybe even actually if you want to be like here with your dress down this way. And look at each other, have a little laugh. Beautiful.
So this wedding day we are doing a first look, which means the couple sees each other before the actual ceremony, and that means we're also doing a lot of the photos before as well. And the benefit of this is that the couple gets to enjoy cocktail hour and they get to be a little bit more part of their day. The unfortunate thing for us is that we usually have to do photos in the hottest sun part of the day, which is a bit of a bummer. So we're actively finding shade in as many places as we can, including parks. We'll visit in a moment.
The water.
Alright, dogs are inside.
Dogs are beautiful. Do you want to walk towards the Taylor sometime out here?
Alright, Lindsay's here, and don't turn around now. Now you're not allowed to turn around.
A lot, so.
Also, I've made a note on my GoPro placement from doing primarily verticals. My finger's kind of in the way, which is a bit annoying. Sorry about that. So I still like to stick to the things that I do as a digital photographer, which is primarily shooting a lot of my lenses wide open or near wide open. And now you're at the mercy of ISO. So the f6 fortunately goes up to 1/8000 of a second for shutter speed, which means I can get away even shooting like a portrait of 400 out here. I would probably be able to keep my aperture a little bit low. However, if you're shooting portrait 800 or portrait 400 and you have a camera with a maximum shutter speed of something like 1/1000, you might need this.
Switching to Portra 160 because it is sunny out.
For pretty much the entire day, I am on aperture priority mode, and I'm setting my aperture to what I want it to be at, which is ideally wide open, and sometimes I'm not able to do that because the maximum shutter speed caps out. I am totally fine, especially with these portrait stocks and portrait 400 specifically, going way overexposed because I know I'm going to be able to retain that detail. If you don't shoot a lot of film, please err on the side of adding more light to the scene because it is much easier to recover. With digital, it's kind of the opposite, that if you overexpose the scene, you kind of lose that detail. Now, oopsies.
It's not good.
Sure, it's fine. So I tend to actually overexpose a lot of my portrait stocks, maybe by 1 stop or 1.5 stops. You can probably go up to, if you're like 5-6 stops overexposed, you can probably still get a nice image from it. That would be an interesting YouTube thing. See how far you can overexpose a stock. Bet it's pretty far.
Do you love the clown?
Do you want a picture?
Sure.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. One more. It's incredible, we've made it. The most road trippable town in Canada by Chevrolet. This week on In a Park with Timothy Musa.
Hello.
We're in a park
I'm
with Timothy Musa. Maybe another important thing to mention here. So film stocks obviously only go up to a certain speed. You can get 3200 ISO film still, but it's Delta and it's black and white. What you can actually do if you do need higher ISO film is you can push your film. If you're using a stock like Portra 400, you are able to push that quite far. You could probably make that a 3200 ISO stock actually. And what I mean by that is that you just put your camera, you set your ISO to 3200, and then you just shoot the ISO 400 film, and then you tell the lab that you shot it at 3200, or you do the math manually and tell them how many stops that you should push that film. And as a note, if you push Portra 800 1 stop, it looks not good, so don't do that. Just do 400 2 stops if you need 1600 ISO film. And what I mean by pushing is that they just leave it in the chemicals for longer so that it develops for longer and gives you more light. The negatives that come with it, or maybe positives depending on your point of view, it becomes usually more contrasty and the grain is definitely increased as well. So experiment, find what you like. You can also pull film, which is the opposite of pushing film, and you typically get less contrast and more muted tones, but that's not as common, I would say, as pushing film. If you are looking for a first film camera to pair with your digital kit, I would probably say a Canon AE1 might be a good place to start. It's not an autofocus camera, but it will get you some good quality images with the basic 50 that most of the AE1s will come with, or the 35. Both of those are great lenses for FD mount. And there's a lot of great options in kind of a more entry-level space, so you don't have to spend too much money to get into film photography. However, the film is getting more expensive, or I guess some of it's getting less expensive. I would recommend shooting Kodak Gold. That is a good stock. Portra 400 is great, but it's a lot more expensive a lot of the time. And Kodak Gold will get you pretty close, and I actually prefer the look of Kodak Gold a lot more. I've been shooting it a lot more since we recorded this video. Why did I shoot this with a fisheye? I don't know, it's great. And I think Kodak Gold pairs very well as a wedding stock because it's called gold. So you're gonna get a warmer feeling to the images, and especially your sunset photos, I feel like they just really feel nice with Kodak Gold. And I do prefer it, I'm gonna say most of the time, over Portra, as long as you can get away with a 200 ISO film stock. You could maybe push it 1 stop, maybe 2 stops if you're feeling crazy. So you get up to like an ISO 800 film with it, but I probably wouldn't go to 1600. You'll definitely see some degradation of the image. Although I haven't tested it personally, so maybe it's just totally fine. And maybe that's my next film video. Pushing Kodak Gold 3 stops. Make it the most versatile wedding film in existence. It's cheaper, and maybe it does the same thing. Who knows? Stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like wedding photography things. There's a lot of it on here. 75 behind the scenes wedding days. Crazy, right? Inside here, I went with Portra 800 a lot more. I had 400 in my secondary camera, but most of these shots are from the 800. You can also scan your own film as well if you just want to maybe save some money and also have full control. If you get a little scanning rig, you already probably have a camera capable of it, so maybe you get a macro lens and a light table and you get a nice little scanning setup, and then you can collect DNG files. My flash is way overpowered in that last shot. But you can get DNG files and you can process them as your own from start to finish, I guess. And you do that through, you can do it in Lightroom with Negative Lab Pro. It's what I would recommend for scanning your own images. You might also be able, if it's a smaller lab or just a person, kind of like the Film Lab, Pandas Film Lab that I bring all my stuff to, you can probably just ask the person to just send you DNGs, and maybe they will, or send you TIFFs, and you get a little bit more data. So if you want to do some fine-tuned color correction, again, you can also dial in your preferences. So if you don't want them to color correct anything at all, you can just tell them, leave everything as is. But if on a wedding day you're inside to outside to inside again, then incandescent, it's nice to get a little bit of a starting point where they will correct a little bit of that for you, so you get more of a final image. To speak a little bit more about film stocks for weddings, so there are also tungsten-based film stocks. So Cinestill 800T is designed to be shot in tungsten environments. But that said, you're basically getting a raw image from the negative that you're scanning. So if you do want to change the color on it, you can, or you can use a filter that makes daylight. So there it is, Film Photography Wedding Day. That's all for today. If you want to get in on one of those monthly membership spots, there are a few available right now. Usually only the annual is available. Right now you can get on the monthly if you get one of those spots. So get in now before they're gone. See you next time. Bye.